The Dentalpreneur Podcast. Okay, doctor, it's time to put down that handpiece. You're listening to the show dedicated to helping dentists get their lives back. It's time to decrease your stress, increase your profitability, and regain your passion. Now introducing your host, Dr. Mark Costas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dentalpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mark Costas. What's up, my friends? I hope everybody's doing great out there. Today, I'm super excited because I get to reunite with an old friend today. She's not old, but she's been a friend of mine for many years. She's a multiple-time guest on the podcast. So let's welcome back Caitlin Parsons to the podcast. Caitlin is a registered dental hygienist of 15 years with chronic pain turned certified yoga therapist and ergonomic consultant for dental professionals. That's a mouthful. Caitlin helps dental professionals prevent, reduce, and overcome workplace pain, manage stress, and optimize their health so they can thrive in and out of the office. Caitlin is passionate about helping dental teams optimize their health together to become better clinicians and provide the best patient care through her in-person and online programs, speaking events, and on her podcast, The Enlightened Hygienist. How you doing today, Caitlin? What's up?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back and chat with you.
Yeah. One time you came out to one of our mastermind meetings. You've been to a handful of summits, but you came out to one of our mastermind meetings one time in Scottsdale, I believe, and you ran us through some basic exercises on how to work on ergonomics and decrease potential chronic pain issues that may arise in the future, or for certain people that were experiencing chronic pain. So that is kind of your area of expertise, but I know that things have evolved in your career. You are no longer, and it's been a while, a clinical hygienist, correct?
Correct. Yeah. My last day was July 1st of 2020.
July 1st of 2020. Wow.
Right in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh, that's crazy. Good timing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but I hung up the handpiece as well. So
Did you?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
3 weeks ago.
Congrats.
I retired, sold the practices, the last 4. So I am a full-time, I don't know what I am. I'm a full-time podcaster now. No, I'm just an entrepreneur. It's actually, it's weird, because I feel like I'm still kind of on vacation or something. Like I feel like tomorrow my time off is over and I'll be back at the chair. But I did it for 21 years, and it feels good to transition. Not that I didn't love it. There's so many things that I loved about it, and I miss my team because my team was like my family. Many of those people had been with me for over 20 years. So I miss them already. But I'm excited about, the future and the possibilities and things that I could do with this much needed bandwidth. So.
Yeah, I resonate with that a lot. I felt that it was a big shift to close out the identity of being a clinical hygienist for me. Yeah,
it is. Doesn't it become part of your kind of identity? It's weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it's weird to say retired hygienist after I'm 35 years old. So saying retired hygienist is like, wait, what?
I know. People, I have trouble with that too, because especially around my hometown, it's just too difficult to explain to people that I'm a performance coach and I'm a podcaster, and they know me as, a dentist, and I'm cool with that. Like in my own hometown, I fly under the radar. Most of the even dentists in town don't know what I do, and I kind of like it that way. But when I say I'm retired, they're like, "Wow, what are you gonna do now? You're just gonna hang out and play golf?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, no. I have so much going on, but it's just not even worth the conversation unless people kind of get the context,
Totally. I definitely get that.
So, tell us a little bit about your backstory. Let's catch everybody up for people that maybe hadn't heard your previous interviews before. You're from the East Coast, and you decided that you had to be in California. And tell us about that whole journey of moving across country, and then when you decided to transition out of the clinical stuff.
Yeah. So Boston, born and raised, went to college in Maine and started practicing right out of the gate, working like 5 and 6 days a week as a dental hygienist. And to be honest, I was 22 at the time when I started working as a hygienist. And
what got you interested in hygiene in the first place?
Honestly, I knew that I wanted to help people. I loved the idea of hygiene in regards to working with people, working in healthcare. And I was kind of sold on it from my dental hygienist at the time. And the idea of having a family and having a little bit more of a flexible schedule. And I was never that kid that grew up super excited about teeth. I got so many cavities and had sugar all the time. So it's interesting how I spun into dental hygiene. But yeah, when I became a dental hygienist, I went all in, working a ton, not really taking care of myself. And really early on in my career, started getting neck and shoulder pain, low back pain. And at the time, I didn't realize that a previous car accident where I hit a tree and flipped my car when I was 16 left me a little bit uneven in my body. So working as a hygienist, not taking care of myself, being stressed and anxious and on the hamster wheel of go, 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 I went down quick. I was burnt out after probably 2 years in the op and really just in a ton of pain. Wasn't in many communities of dental professionals. So I thought I was alone at the time. This was probably about 12 years ago. And hit a low and low energy, not really thriving in any way at 23 years old, and started going to yoga, realized that I actually feel a little bit better from this general yoga class. And it was then after going a few times that I had this realization, there has to be something out there that's more therapeutic for the work that we do as dental professionals. And so that kind of spiraled me into looking up therapeutic yoga. And that's really what led me to move to California, to San Diego, because I just had this knowing that yoga therapy actually really wasn't a thing back then. Now it's become more established as a profession. But back then there wasn't many schools, there wasn't many options. I knew the West Coast probably would have them a lot sooner than I would on the East Coast. And during that time, I just had this realization. My work was to figure out how to heal my own body, how to feel good in my body. But I just had this knowing that once I do that and understand that, I'm meant to help dental professionals, because the numbers of people in pain, once I started looking into it, are just astronomically high and scary and crazy. And so, I moved to San Diego when I was 24 and got my license in California. Once I did and started working as a hygienist, started my yoga therapy program. And it took about 5 years in my yoga therapy program because I was really specializing not only in my own understanding of the body and pain and how we move, but how to create programs and how to help other people. So I would teach yoga classes specifically on therapeutics, and mostly had all the people that have back pain and are chronic pain, whatever that looks like. And then started to work with people one-on-one. And again, started working with the people that had back pain where either surgery didn't work or they're wanting to kind of kick surgery down the line, or they're told by doctors that, this is just how their life is going to be, and pain meds are the only option. And got some really great results in a holistic way of supporting people, not just teaching people yoga, but how to move our body, how to understand how to have good posture and understand our gait, and how everything, all of that together creates a healthier body and sound body. So the first half of my dental hygiene career, I practiced clinically for about 12 years. And the first half just looked very different than the second half. And I always knew on this journey, I wanted to help dental professionals, but no idea what the heck that looked like. And once I got out of pain, I started to realize the impact it had on my mental capacity and started managing stress a bit better. And it's just night and day when I look back at how I practiced as a hygienist at the beginning. When I was in pain, I didn't have tools. I felt alone. I felt unresourced, stressed out, anxious, overwhelmed by patients' energy and emotions and all the things that come with dentistry. But then the second half of my career, when I found all these tools and started to really take care of myself, it was like a skyrocket. My patient communication got better. Communicating with my team got better. I started to work in a more collaborative way with my doctor, and my energy was better. My numbers improved, and I just became more of a leader. So I started to understand the impact of pain, of stress, and the work that we do as dental professionals, and how when we as practitioners take care of ourselves and we know how to feel good, it's can be a game changer for not only ourselves and our outside lives, but our patients and our work that we do.
Amazing.
So, yeah, that's long-winded.
No, thank you so much for that backstory. I wrote some notes, and I want to kind of see if we can kind of push on some of these things a little bit, because, you know, when we talk about yoga, we talk about self-care, we talk about ergonomics, making sure that we're strengthening like supportive, maybe even peripheral muscle groups, right? Those are some of the things that you talk about. But I'm interested to hear more about when you said that your second half of your career was significantly different than the first half of your career. And then you also mentioned things like coping and communication and the energy level. Those sorts of things came with what? Came with relieving yourself of chronic pain? Or was it just because of the practice of yoga just gets you more centered and allows you to be better at those things?
I'd probably say both. I think my journey is really unique, and I want to help people make it a lot shorter than mine was, because it took over a decade for me to figure this all out. Mm-hmm. But I'd say that once I felt better in my body, once the pain was down, once I knew how to manage my body and feel good in my body, I was just much more aware. First of all, I had more energy in my body, but I also just was more aware of myself and how I was showing up. And I wanted to be better because I had more energy. And with that, I think a consistent yoga practice or a meditation practice creates the opportunity for us to be just more aware of our physical body, of our thoughts, of what we're saying, of how we're communicating, of the way we receive feedback or share feedback with other people. And so I think it was a combination of I'll also say that me getting out of pain was really big, because I was a people pleaser. I didn't have time for myself. I worked because I thought that's what I need to do. I put myself last. And so I think there's also this idea that once I started connecting and taking care of my physical body, I got to become a little bit more me and slow down and just be more present. And I think it was a combination of decreasing pain and using yoga and developing those skills.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom to that. And, you know, the little bit that I know about yoga is that you have the opportunity to kind of quiet your mind down, and it's a bit of a meditative practice. You get to focus on one thing, even if it's not super comfortable. You get to focus on one thing, and it just kind of eliminates all the other worries. You know, that's what I love so much about surfing and doing other types of sports like that I'm not super awesome at. It requires so much focus that you're out there for 2 hours and you're like, I didn't think about anything else except for like what I was trying to do physically in that moment. And I know that is very, very true about yoga. I would say too, in addition to, and I'm agreeing with you 100%, like being in chronic pain, because I've had back issues and neck issues my whole life. You know, I've had a neck surgery, spinal fusion, and a back surgery as well. Being in chronic pain is exhausting. It's exhausting. And you don't even really realize it sometimes, but it significantly decreases your ability to cope with things, including your irritation with other people, personal relationships, how you come off to the world. And I know people that have back pain and they confide in me, and I'm like, dude, I totally get it. They're like, I'm not the best version of myself right now because I'm in pain all the time. Like my base level is like a 6. So you might not be able to see that they're in pain from the outside, but it's like I can feel for them, and I know that they're exhausted. They're frustrated, and they're not the best version of themselves. So anything to get them out of that, any coping skills or any type of program like you have is so helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I didn't realize it till I was kind of more on the outside of my pain, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just like a dull version of myself. And for a while, to your point, that a lot of times, especially in our industry, pain or just aches and discomfort, they show up really slowly and they're like silent for a while. Not silent, but they're just little nudges. And a lot of us don't really realize until it becomes something bigger. But it's in those times where if we're just like, oh, I have this achy shoulder and we're thinking about it, even regardless if we're doing something about it, that is exhausting. Just constantly thinking about, oh, I should go see someone, or this is a lot. But then when you think about how physical pain affects our nervous system and how our body runs, like, yeah, we don't have the energy and the resources that we would if we felt good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So, your business is evolving, your life is evolving, but your business is evolving significantly. I'd love to hear what you're up to lately. How do you work with, do you call them patients or clients? How do you work with healthcare professionals to alleviate their pain and make them stronger?
Yeah. It's funny you said clients versus patients. When I was working as a hygienist and teaching yoga classes and doing private clients, I called everyone clients and patients. It was a mess, but clients, I guess I'll say. So even just since the last time I came on the podcast, a lot has changed, and it's moving in directions that I didn't anticipate. And also, this is what I've been working for or towards for so long, and I had no idea. So a couple of things, I'm still doing the same. I have a monthly yoga membership for just individuals. And I'd say my style of yoga is very different than traditional. It's therapeutic. So it's slow, it's mindfulness based. It's teaching people how to pay attention to their body and how to move slowly and gently and effectively on the yoga mat, and teaching people how that can translate to our everyday life, the way we sit, the way we walk, the way we stand, all of that. So I have a yoga membership program. I have a group coaching program for dental hygienists that I love. We go over ergonomics and yoga and all of that. And then really what I want to step into, and I am stepping into this year, is supporting teams. And that can look like a virtual or recorded continuing education. I have my signature course is a ergonomics and therapeutic yoga for all dental professionals. So I love doing that with teams because I think there's something valuable about each individual learning on their own and learning these tools. But when an office can do it together, it's like there's this accountability piece all around where someone can call you out nicely or remind you of what you're working towards, all of that stuff. But I've actually started to create ergonomics and yoga programs for dental offices. So as a whole team working on the ergonomics, whether it's the front office or office coordinator, assistant, dentist, everyone getting an ergonomic assessment to better understand your body and your workspace and how to optimize it. And not even in a way that we have to bring in all these fancy tools, but how can we just position ourselves or shift the room around even to optimize the way we're working to reduce the strain on our body. So a few ways, recorded or continuing education, yoga program, ergonomics, or all of it together.
Awesome. Gosh, you're busy. You're creating a lot of different avenues for being able to deliver.
I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah, I totally can. So, all right, novice question. So asking for a friend. What if somebody is super intimidated to get into yoga because they're super inflexible and they think that it's too late? This stage in their career or the stage in their life, maybe.
I really resonate with that. I, as a Boston born and raised, like at the beginning of my career, I was into sports, I was exercising, and the idea of yoga was just too woo, not me. And it's funny, 10 years later, it's like all I talk about. So I really understand. Yeah, it is. If you are not flexible, that's a reason to do yoga. And if you think it's too late, it's not. I actually just worked with a 93-year-old client for 2 years, and she thought she was too old to do yoga, but she had a bunch of pain. And other kind of emotional stuff around her age and stuff like that. And the results we got we did just bed yoga. So I was doing yoga with this 90-year-old patient, and she was increasing her mobility, increasing her strength, and in general, with all of that, had more vitality. So there is no age, there's no restriction. I think if you are considering it, do it. My best recommendation, or I'll preface by saying, not all yoga is created equal. There's the more fitness-based classes there that we see a lot in our culture, but there's so many different styles. Like I said, I teach a more therapeutic. I tend to gravitate, or the people that are in pain, inflexible, and maybe intimidated by a general yoga class tend to come towards me, just because I want it to be inclusive. You don't need to wear all these fancy yoga clothes and be the most flexible person. A lot of the stuff we do is on our back. And how can we improve our health in order to improve the way we feel in our work and all of that?
That's awesome. That's awesome. So a general yoga class, or like something online, like what would be a good place to start? And how do we vet out if this is like our thing or not? Like, you say that not all yoga is created equal. And I was a personal trainer for 13 years, and I've seen like people that should not have a certification because they're hurting people every day. Mm-hmm. And then I've seen people that are just right on point, and everything in between, right? So how do we know? How do we vet them out? How do we vet out an instructor? That's
a good question. I have very few yoga studios that I can actually go to because I'm the biggest critic in the room. I would say connect to the reason why you're doing it. Do you want to improve your mobility, or do you want exercise, or do you already, like you, where say it was back in the day when you were in pain, but you're surfing and you're doing workouts and you're doing all that. You don't really need an exercise-based practice. So finding something for you that, first of all, can improve your mobility, can decrease some of the tightness and tension from the work you do. But I think one of the most important things is finding someone that understands our job and what we are doing, especially if you're looking for something more therapeutic, if you're in pain, there's so many ways that we can go about this, but connecting to the why of why you want to do it, what do you want to gain from it? And then from there, there's kind of different paths you can go on, whether you want exercise or something more therapeutic, or you want to lay in bed and do yoga. There's plenty of options. There's so many on YouTube that are free. I know Yoga with Adrienne is one that has a free YouTube and very beginner based. I have like I said, my yoga membership. I have a few freebies actually on my website: a neck and shoulder class, a healthy back class, and you can get an idea of what therapeutic yoga is, or what a yoga class might look like, and go from there. But try it out. Explore, be curious. Don't just go to one class and one teacher and cut it off because you don't like them. There's many different teachers, many different styles. So listen to your body and see how you feel.
Cool. What does your yoga membership look like? Is this virtual? Is this available to anybody around the world? Okay. So is it live? How does it? So
a few different components to it. There's a live class every Tuesday on Zoom at 7 7 Eastern time. There we go. But I also send weekly yoga classes out that are chairside yoga classes. So like 5 to 10 minute stretches you can do in the office. So those are sent via email, but there's also an online platform of like probably too many classes. There's like 200 plus classes on there. So you can be at home or at work and jump on the website and just like pick and choose depending on, I need a neck and shoulder class or a short one, a long one, relaxing, whatever it is. Yeah.
That's awesome. It sounds a little bit like Peloton, like where you can go and you could take archive classes or you could take live classes. That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So like what platform where do you store all of your pre-recorded classes?
It's on my website.
Oh, it's all on your website?
You just go to my website, sign up for the membership, and you log in through my website, and everything's there.
That is awesome. Okay, so that's that one. There's a bunch of different ones. So how do you do the classes with just the hygienists? Is it the same kind of format, like once a week? Or?
No. I like to make everything really different, apparently. No, it's a coaching program. So every week we meet for 3 months, and I do a training on, different things from posture. We spend about 4 to 5 weeks specifically on just ergonomics, from the basics to more detailed. We do an ergonomic assessment. So they send me pictures, videos of themselves while they're practicing, and they each get a 15-minute virtual ergonomic assessment with me, and I break everything down, answer their questions. So weekly trainings, Q&As, opportunity to get support. There's a Facebook group, so all the hygienists get to connect and ask each other questions. And then alongside that, I created a progressive 12-week yoga therapy program that's designed for dental hygienists. So they're like 20 to 30 minutes. Hygienists can do it, once a week or a few times a week, and it builds progressively. So on different areas of the body, and builds in mobility and just strengthening and awareness, all of those things.
Cool. So, how often are you seeing docs or talking to doctors? Because I don't think I know of a doc that has been doing this for longer than 10 years that doesn't have significant physical pain.
I know.
And it could be a 4, or it could be a 9, or, I introduced you to one of my friends that is at 11, and he may or may not be going down the surgical road, but there's a lot of us that dentistry has been really hard on our bodies.
Yeah. It's, I started my business with a big focus on dental hygienists, and that's kind of what I've started to master. And this year in 2023, my big one is starting to help the other people. So going into offices, helping dentists. And I think naturally hygienists just gravitate towards me, but the work we do, no matter where we're at in the office, I feel for even dental assistants, it's challenging. And we all have in our own way different complexities to the job, and to the work that we do. And I think no matter where you're at in the career, understanding your body, how to take care of it, your ergonomics is so valuable. Like you said, so you don't get to that 11, because when we get to the 11, it's what other things have, what has happened as a side effect of getting to that 11 and being in pain for so long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What are the big things that we're doing wrong? What repetitive, what's leading to these chronic injuries because I'm sure you see some very generalized injuries that happen to people in our profession. Like, I know that neck pain is significant. I know that a lot of people get numbness in their offhand or their left hand. I know that a lot of people have difficulty in their lower lumbar from the twisting and turning that we do, and from the bad posture. That was my thing. Really, really bad posture. And if it's gonna save 30 seconds in a procedure, I will torque my back for that 30 seconds and just get it done. But doing that, 15 times a day for 20 years takes its toll. Yeah,
there's a lot of things I could say, and I was the same. It's funny that I teach and do what I do because I had awful posture growing up. I made all the wrong mistakes as a hygienist ergonomically, and now I'm just passionate about helping other people not make those mistakes. I'd say when it comes to ergonomics, the first thing to understand is our posture. If we can find a way to maintain neutral posture, we are setting ourselves up in a better spot. When we are twisting awkwardly or leaning or rounding or reaching for whatever reasons consistently over and over, procedure after procedure, our body is out of alignment. And at a baseline, sitting in general isn't ideal for our bodies. Certain parts of our bodies are working harder. Certain parts are underworking. So at a baseline, I think we all need to understand what's happening in our body when we're sitting and how we can balance that out by just stretching regularly, strengthening, doing a lot of the practices we talked about. And then from that, our how can we maintain neutral posture? So what are the actions or the procedures that are making us twist into those awkward positions? And is there something in the operatory we can do? Can we move things closer to us? Can we move the patient a little bit more? I see this a lot in hygienists. And yeah, so I could go on literally all day, Dr. Costas. I'll also say, there's a lot of different pieces to it. Everyone, I think if you can understand how to rebalance your body from sitting, how to sit with good posture, and understand a baseline about ergonomics, we're in a much better position. And then avoiding those little one-off times that we reach into the mouth or lean over.
Awareness. Yeah.
Yeah. Awareness. And then a lot of people, when we're holding a handpiece or whatever it is for extended periods of time, understanding that if we're doing this all day, certain parts of our hand, of our arm, of our, even up to our neck and our shoulder are affected. So what are we doing to counteract all of this engagement through in this example, inner part of the hand? And how can we strengthen the other side and stretch and open to bring more balance back into the body?
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So you said you're doing a lot more speaking, which is kind of, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Take us through what's the day in the life of Caitlin look like these days? I mean, you're in Southern California, you're in my favorite city. You're an entrepreneur. You're not a traditional hygienist anymore. So how do you fill your days? What does it look like?
That's a good question. So, I mean, starting with the speaking piece, I love speaking. And I also have this, I hate speaking. I can't believe that it's what I have a mission to do, because it still kind of frightens me a little bit. And it's intimidating.
You should run towards it then.
Yes, exactly. I used to run away from it for a while.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, clearly I have something to share and people need it, especially in our industry. So I'm just going for it. I am getting a bit more into speaking and writing for different publications, Hygienist. I have a research paper I'm working on for, actually, maybe I shouldn't say, but for a dental publication, all about yoga for combating pain and improving our energy for dental professionals. So yeah, writing and my programs. And I actually, up until 6 months ago, I still had about 6 private clients that I was working with. And I've said this for a while. I feel like this is the way just my life works. I say I want something, and then I have to be I'm pushed into it almost, or push myself into it. So 6 months ago, I was like, okay, I think at the beginning of the year, I did this when I was leaving the op. I'd be like, January, I'm going to quit clinical. And then it would be like, okay, July, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So 6 months ago, I had this okay, I think the beginning of the year, somehow I have to wean my clients off, because a lot of them I'd been working with for a while. And then the universe just kind of did it for me. Unfortunately, 2 of my older private clients ended up passing back-to-back days in November. And they were my main people. I saw them once and twice a week. And then at the beginning of this year, as I'm kind of restabilizing, my last 2 private clients are graduating, and they've been working with me for 3 to 4 years and moving and retiring. And so it's a really exciting time, but also a lot of big shifts lately. So my days are a little bit different than they used to be. I'm speaking a couple times a month through this year, and writing and connecting with I'm passionate about connecting with different companies and different people that have a similar mission or are really supporting our community and industry, because at the end of the day, I'm passionate about helping decrease the numbers and help people feel good and give them tools to thrive. Because a lot of people, we see it from dentists like you see to hygienists. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of burnout. There's a lot of pain. And I think it's more people are aware of it from the pandemic for multiple reasons, probably, than we were before. And at the end of the day, how can I, by collaborating, by writing, by speaking, by just getting my message and my stuff out there, how can I help? So those are kind of my days. I just got back from a walk though at the beach. I live like a block from the water.
Oh, so nice. So nice. It's snowing right now here.
But I'm honestly like traveling and doing these a little bit more speaking. I'm sure you can attest to it. It's a different kind of energy. And I'm kind of in this space of acclimating to my new normal, I guess. So 3 months from now, I might have a different answer to what my days look like. But for now, that's it.
That's cool though. It is cool to change things up. I think that no matter how awesome a job is or, a business is, it can get stale. It can get stale. And right now you're in transition. And to me, that's the most exciting time when you're getting your bearings and you're kind of charging into discomfort and into fear. That to me is like when I feel the most alive. So that is cool. I'm really glad that the universe is treating you this way right now. Sounds cool.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that in November. I was like, why me? I was also in the middle of moving and a relationship transition. So it was like everything. But now after the dust kind of settled and still in the transition, I feel alive and very aware of the excitement in my mission and also the fear and the what ifs and the doubt and how do we get to walk forward and keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Do you limit your practice to dental professionals, or is it people with chronic pain, or who are you serving?
Yeah, if someone needs my help, you can be I don't think someone outside of dentistry would want to join my program for dental hygienists, but I do help people outside of dentistry. I actually did for a really long time. Up until this last year, I started kind of going all in on just dental professionals, but I still have a couple private clients here and there, or people in my membership are not dental professionals, because at the end of the day, a lot of us are sitting more or we're on our phones more. And so a lot of us, whether we realize it or not, need a lot of the same work and attention and support.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you're going to be proud of me because in April, we're doing a black belt coaches retreat, and I rented out a whole hotel, small hotel in Costa Rica. And Costa Rica is all about yoga and all that stuff. So we're doing a bunch of that sort of thing. So every morning is going to start off with a yoga class. So I need to do some cramming. I need to get some basics down between now and then. So I got about 2.5 months to like start turning it on. That's why when you and I started talking again, I was like, oh, I got to get her on the podcast. Selfishly, I was like, okay, I need to ask her what to do. I need to ask you what to do. Like I don't want to go in there cold. I want to get the most out of like an experienced instructor. So I don't want to just be like, okay, like super, super remedial. So hopefully within the next couple months, I can get some of the basics down and some base level flexibility totally. Too. Yeah.
Even just doing it a few times before you go and getting like the flow or some of the lingo and all of that. But if you can just show up and allow whatever you're going to experience, whether you know things or not, it's going to be great.
Yeah,
I love excited.
That. I will be thinking about you when I'm in the jungle doing yoga on a mat.
Sounds pretty epic.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. So I would love it if you could tell us, you could tell us a little bit about what you have going on. Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about how to get in touch with you if people are interested in seeking your coaching.
Yeah. So my podcast is called, pretty much everything now for me is called The Aligned Hygienist. So it's The Aligned Hygienist podcast. And I do 2 episodes a week. One is more of a quick Wellness Wednesday tip. So I talked about saddle stools one week or low back pain, different things we can do in the operatory for hand and wrist pain, stuff like that. And then I have different guests on to talk about anything mind, body, emotions, leadership, optimizing our health and our safety and our joy for what we do. So, I've actually been loving doing a podcast. I wanted to do it for so long and finally just decided to launch it. So I just love connecting with other people, hearing other people's stories and sharing great tools and resources. So that's the podcast. And then I'm on Instagram, The Aligned Hygienist. My website is The Aligned Hygienist. And yeah, reach out to me. I love connecting with people. You can send me an email, hello@The Aligned Hygienist. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Facebook.
I mean, I love podcasting for so many reasons, but like you get to meet people like you know, and it gives you an excuse to reach out to people that you admire, right? Without just a cold email. It's like, hey, I have a podcast. I would love to interview you. It's allowed me to reach out to and meet some of my best friends in the profession. And I think you're just going to love it. You're perfect at it. I mean, you're so authentic when you speak that I think that you'll be doing it for a long time. I feel like.
Yeah. It does feel weird. It's like even right now, just looking around at the idea that I'm just talking to my computer with a mic.
It is weird, isn't it?
But it feels like a lot of the times like we're in person and having a conversation, which I love.
Yeah. There's many, many people that I know only virtually. And then you bump into them at a convention or something. You're like, oh my gosh, you're like a real human person. And you're way taller than I thought you were. You were taller in person than you are online. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. So we will see you in San Antonio coming up here.
Yeah, I'll see you there. Got my ticket.
Thank you so much for your continued support. I can't wait to see you. And hopefully we'll do some projects together in the future.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. Thank you for having me back again.
Of course. Congratulations on all of your success and all the fun things happening in your life right now. It's fun to catch up.
Yeah. Ditto. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Aligned Hygienist, Caitlin Parsons.